And we are coming to you live from an undisclosed location deep in the heart of American flyover country. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian whistleblower. We are under the radar, ladies and gentlemen, but always over the top, and this certainly will be no different. Today, I want to talk to you very briefly and hopefully with some insight about Representative Ilhan Omar. Is she right or is she wrong? And my answer in Halo Marquise-esque style is yes and no, yes and no. Of course, Ilhan Omar is the self-proclaimed socialist, newly elected freshman representative from the Somali district around Minneapolis, Minnesota, self-proclaimed socialist, devout Muslim, or at least appearing on the outside to be. We can't tell what's inside her. And she has caused a storm of controversy for making comments about Israel. Now, is she wrong on being socialist? Yes, that's stupid. Is she wrong on wanting to impose 90% tax rates? Yes, that's stupid. Is she wrong for what she said about Israel? Well, ladies and gentlemen, full disclosure, I'm an old member of the Buchanan Brigades. I ran a state for Pat in his first presidential quest. I ran a state for Pat in his second presidential quest, and I am an unapologetic Buchanan Brigader. And it was Pat Buchanan himself who said that the U.S. Congress was Israeli occupied territory. It was Pat Buchanan that said that there were two groups that wanted war in the Middle East. One was the neocon lobby in the U.S. Congress, and the other was the Amen lobby of the Israel supporters. So Pat has said things very similar to what Ilhan Omar has said. And I submit to you that neither one of them are Semitic, anti-Semitic. And here's the problem. You've got people like Deborah Smith, who from all appearances is an intelligent person. I mean, she is listening to this channel, so she must be somewhat intelligent. And she'll come in and like a knee-jerk, reactionist, liberal, know-nothing, empty-headed, mushy, Jesuit swallowing, rabbinic, Talmudic guzzling. I won't even say the rest of that sentence. Israel is God's chosen people. Really? Well, Israel is the chosen people of a fallen, failed, and flawed God. But the true gods of the Bible are no respecter of persons. The true gods of the Bible do not show favoritism. And if they're God's chosen people, why do they need our help? So Israel is not God's chosen people, nor are the Christians a chosen generation, nor are the Christians a royal priesthood, nor are the Christians a holy nation. I handled this yesterday, Deborah. Go back and unindoctrinate yourself. I doubt you will, but at least you'll get a chance. If you go back and look at that show yesterday, you'll be able to unindoctrinate yourself. Now, here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. What Omar said about, and some of you have written me emails, Jeff, why aren't you saying anything when they pass a law that says we can't disagree with Israel? Why aren't you saying anything when we pass a law that says that you can't criticize Israel? And yet, Jeff, why are you defending this representative Ilmar? Oh, what's her freaking name anyway? You know what she is, the Somali district. I don't know her name. Don't care about her name. Ilhan Omar. I'm not defending her. What I'm defending is Israel has every right as a nation to exist. Israel has every right as a nation to defend itself. Israel has every right as a nation to act like every other nation. But Israel has no special privileges and should be granted no special quarters. Israel must behave like every other sovereign nation to remain a member of the community of sovereign nations. No better, no worse. They are another nation. They're one of our allies. We support them. But if they do wrong, I'm with Representative Ilhan Omar. If Israel does wrong, I reserve the right to criticize them. I am with Representative Ilhan Omar. If Israel makes mistakes, I have the right and retain the right to criticize them. And they've got this big, long study about whether Russia colluded in the U.S. elections last year, when it's easy to see that Israel did. Because Pat was right when he said the U.S. Congress was Israeli-occupied territory. And guess what? So's the White House now. Donald Trump was elected by money bought and paid for. He was delivered, bought and paid for into the White House by pro-Third Temple interests. Now, it seems like Donald Trump has a lot of leeway to do a lot of things he wants to do, and I'm glad for that. But the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, he was placed there for one reason and one reason only: get that third temple built. And as long as he builds a third temple, it's starting to look like they'll let him do a lot of things that he wants to do. But listen, Omar is wrong as she can be about socialism. Omar's wrong as she can be about taxation. Omar's wrong as she can be about everything from A to Z. But she's right when she says that it is wrong for us to say and to set aside a nation with special privileges and say no matter what they do, they can't be criticized. It's wrong to say that no matter what they do, that you're not allowed to say anything bad about them. Israel deserves our support as a staunch ally. Israel deserves our correction if they go astray, and Israel deserves to be smacked upside the head just like every other nation if they do something that's wrong, if they do something that's illegal, if they do something that's immoral. They are not God's chosen people, and we ought not to allow them to act like they are. They're not God's chosen people. Neither are we. We're all just people trying to get along and make our way back home. We're just a bunch of strangers on the bus trying to find our way back home. Is Omar wrong on taxation? Hell yes. Is Omar wrong on socialism? Hell yes. Is Omar wrong about holding Israel to the same standards as every other nation? Hell no. She's right. And as much as I dislike her politics, as much as I dislike her stands on taxation, I have to take my burqa off to her for having the guts to stand up and say, I'm going to treat Israel just like everybody else. No better, no worse. And at the end of the day, that's what the woman said. So don't get your burqas in a wad, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not supporting socialism. I'm not supporting Islam, but I am supporting level-headed objectivity in regards to the nation of Israel. So let's go ahead and go into the chat room. I don't know why I do it. You've listened to me for 8 minutes. Let me take a look and see what we got. See what we got in here. This should be interesting. I'm mixed on what she says, says Tracy Dyer. 13 million a day going to Israel is crazy. There's no way we should send Israel $13 million every day. Forget about it. Donald Trump is very right in saying that Japan should pay for their own defense. Donald Trump is very right in saying that Germany should pay for their own defense. Europe should pay for its own defense. Well, guess what? Israel should pay for its own defense too. Well, God's chosen people can provide for themselves. Oh, thank you, John Q. Jeff's holding back a little bit. Time to talk about dissolving the federal government. It's time to talk about Article 5 of the U.S. Constitution. I'm looking into that. I agree. Israel chose themselves as God's chosen people. They made a deal with an off-world entity who is claiming the name Yahweh. Deborah Smith, again, ears so far in the dirt that she can't hear, or head so far up somewhere else that all she can hear is flatulence. They all better get the things right. Lord Voldemort is under her head wrap. Oh, come on now. That's not nice. God says if you bless Israel, you'll be blessed. Really? Really, Deborah? The Bible's true, Jeff, because the Bible says it's true. Israel's God's chosen people because the Bible says it's God's chosen people. Israel's God's chosen people because the Old Testament written by Israel says it's God's chosen people. Really, Deborah? That comment should have been written in crayon. That's how childish it is. I'm actually shocked. Andrea D is shocked, ladies and gentlemen. Why is Andrea D shocked? I'm actually shocked that you, Jeff, and Jenny Constantine are such Trumpettes. Jenny more so. It's shocking. You already said that. Especially knowing how enlightened you both are. Have you guys been brainwashed by chance? You know what it's called, Andrea D? It's called we're not knee-jerk reactionary libtards like you apparently are. We look at things objectively. Did you not just hear what I said about Donald Trump? He's bought and paid for, set free from bankruptcy, elected to office by money that comes from people that wants him to build a third temple. Does that sound like I'm a Trumpet? Does it? Did I not just say that Donald Trump has a lot of leeway to do what he wants to do as long as he does what they tell him to do? Did I not just say that? So why don't you stuff a sock in it? Because you're talking. Why don't you and Deborah go into a side room and talk to each other and give each other pats on the backs and have some mutual masturbation, because that's all that you guys are doing. I don't care for you much, period. Well, guess what, Anita? I don't care that you don't care. I really don't. My give a damn busted a long time ago. And I got a question for you. If you don't care for me much, period, then why are you watching me? Because you just can't get enough, can you? You don't like me, but you can't turn me off. I have that effect on a lot of people. Don't worry. I'm like the itch that won't go away, and you just got to scratch it. That's okay, Anita. Come back and scratch anytime, because you can put a lot of ointment on it. You can put a lot of butter on it. You can rub it down with your own urine. You can do a lot of things, but that itch ain't going away because it's the itch of truth, Anita. I'm under your skin, and I'll be there until you give up and surrender and start thinking for yourself and unindoctrinate yourself. So keep on scratching, cousin. It ain't going away. Vince Proctor says she expresses some of the right things. Rather hear on, yeah, I agree. We have Rep. Lee Zeldin trying to move her from Foreign Affairs Committee. And you know, that's a hard one for me. Well, we shouldn't have a Muslim on the Foreign Affairs Committee. Well, should we have a Jewish person on the Foreign Affairs Committee? Should we have a Christian on the Foreign Affairs Committee? Most of the Christians in government believe that the Mosque of Omar needs to be destroyed so the Antichrist can come and Jesus can come back. Do you really want somebody on the Foreign Affairs Committee believing that? You know what? I would be for removing all Muslims from the Foreign Affairs Committee if we also removed all Christians and all Jews. Only atheists on the Foreign Affairs Committee, only people that are not clouded by Abrahamic religion are allowed on the Foreign Affairs Committee. If I were king, I'd do it. We don't want people clouded by end-time eschatological idiocracy on the Foreign Affairs Committee. Israel deserves to be treated like everyone else. They do. Same protections, same courtesy, same respect. But if you want special treatment, you're not going to get it here. I don't care who you are. We treat everybody the same. That's what America does. We don't look at the color of your skin. We look at the content of your character. We don't care who you think you are or what you think you are. We just watch what you do. And as long as you act right, we're with you. You act wrong, and you got a fight coming, cousin, no matter who you are. I love me some Amy Renee. Jeff has the best show on YouTube. Like him or not, he keeps it interesting. Well, I thank you for that. And I would rather, what I want you to do, I want you, when I get through with the show, I want you to be screaming, cussing, throwing stuff because you hate me that much. Or I want you saying, man, I got to think about that. I just don't want you to say, oh, that was nice. I want to move you to action, ladies and gentlemen. And believe it or not, some of the stuff I say is not because I'm an ass. Some of it probably because I am. Some of it is calculated to piss you off. Some of it's calculated to tweak you. Some of it's poking you through the cage with a stick, trying to get you to get off your dead ass and think about something besides Kim Kardashian's, what I just said. Liberals are so overwhelmed with their hatred of Trump that they cannot be objective. And Trump today said that the Democrats have become an anti-Israel party. I disagree with that. That's Donald Trump paying his tithes to his owners. I don't think Donald Trump even believes that. But if you're going to have the power, you got to pay your bill, and Donald Trump has to pay some bills so he can continue to do some things that he thinks are right for America. Touché, Jeff. Love what you're saying. Jeff is a polarizing polar plunger. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Thank you, I think. Imar should be removed for anti-Semitic statement, and her character says she should be removed. What anti-Semitic statement, Teresa Kelly? And you can put 5, 6, 7 exclamation points, but it doesn't make your statement make any more sense. What was her anti-Semitic statement? I'm waiting. She didn't make an anti-Semitic statement. This has to be said, ladies and gentlemen. Being critical of the policies of the nation of Israel is not the same thing as being anti-Semitic. Being anti-Semitic means that you are against people who are of a certain religion, and you deprive their rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness based upon their religion. It has nothing to do with saying that the nation that happens to be emblematic of their religion has to act like every other nation. That's not anti-Semitism. We must retain the right to be critical of every nation. They're not God's chosen people, and neither are we. We all need to be held to the same standard of humanity. I'd rather be, yeah, that's true. They will try to be, I agree with President Trump. Okay, good. I agree with President Trump a lot too. You know what she said. Yeah, but you don't, Teresa, because you're too ignorant, lazy, and stupid to look it up yourself. You don't know what she said. You really don't know. All you know is that it was anti-Semitic because you were told it was anti-Semitic by somebody on YouTube. You don't know what she said. Come into my chat room, hurling epithets at me. You don't know what she said because you're too lazy to know. I know. And it wasn't anti-Semitic. It was critical of Israel, but it wasn't anti-Semitic. And it wasn't even really critical of Israel. It was, hey, look, we need to be able to say, correct any nation when they do wrong. Seems like we live in a time where the truth will be used against you. She simply brought to light the overwhelming lopsided representation. She called attention to the U.S. Congress being Israeli occupied territory. That's what she did. That's what she did. Oh, here we go again. Israel is God's people. Israel is a fallen, failed, flatulent God's people. Gods don't have people. People have gods. Ooh, that's good. It's really good. I like that. It's all about the Benjamins. Is that anti-Semitic? It's all about the Benjamins. What she's saying is, when people give money to politicians, they expect a return. AOC is all about the Benjamins from the Justice Democrats. She, along with AOC and Omar here, I believe they both were Justice Democrat candidates. They're both the American Idol, political American Idol winners. It's all about the Benjamins for Omar, too. It's all about the Benjamins for AOC, too. I do know you're a communist traitor. Oh, now I'm a communist traitor. You are so ignorant that it beggars description. So ignorant that it beggars description. You don't even know what communist means. Wow. 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 Jews control the world with money, media, religion, and secret societies that have been doing this for 20 years. You give them way too much credit. It's not one. Do you really think it's one group of people that control the world? No, come on. Come on. Come on. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to get beyond left, right. We got to get beyond wrong, right. We got to get beyond black, white. We've got to get to the place where we're unindoctrinated. Unindoctrinated politically, unindoctrinated culturally, unindoctrinated socially, and unindoctrinated spiritually. This woman is a nutbag. This woman behind me is a nutcase on taxation. She's a nutcase on socialism. But she brought up a legitimate concern that was advanced many years ago by polemic Patrick Buchanan. And as a former Buchanan Brigader, I got to say, as wrong as she is on everything else, she was right about that. Israel deserves our support. Israel deserves our friendship as long as they act in ways that support and warrant our support and friendship. But let's quit sending them all that money. They can take care of their damn selves. Bring it back. Take care of some people in America. Rocky Stucci, the emotional meatball, checking in. Rocky, I'm going to leave right now, but I want to hear if you can tell me what you think. Omar, crazy as hell on taxes. Omar, crazy as hell on socialism. But in saying that Israel needs to be treated like every other nation, I say she's right. In her saying that Israel deserves no special treatment, I say she's right. What do you say, Rocky Stucci? And I'm going to sit here and I'm going to wait for Rocky Stucci's response, ladies and gentlemen. Rocky Stucci of the Situation Room with Rocky Stucci. Rocky Stucci of the soon coming Shut Up. It's Rocky Stucci right here on this channel. And let me take this opportunity to let you know that Joseph Atwell, author of Caesar's Messiah, will be coming on this channel very, very soon to talk about his great work. We will have a show starting with Rocky Stucci. She is right, says Rocky Stucci. We're indoctrinated to not talk about Israel. Where's my mic? Let me drop it. If Rocky Stucci agrees with me, I'm in good company, brother. I got your back. I know you got mine. Ladies and gentlemen, wake up, unindoctrinate yourself. We're the last generation of real humans. Reach down between your legs and see if you got a pair. Let's do a stream tomorrow, Rocky. You're on. Tell me when. Girls, you got a pair too. It's just a little different. Jeffrey Daugherty, Christian whistleblower. We're the last generation of real humans. Isn't it time that we unindoctrinate ourselves? Mazda Brooks, I see you, and you're right. Jeffrey Daugherty, Christian whistleblower, over and out. Tomorrow, Rocky Stucci, shut up. Don't miss it.